Welcome to the William Scott Show. Rational, reasonable, and red-pilled. The topic of discussion today, the NBA and the vaccine. Several players, including Johnathan Issacs, Bradley Beal, Andrew Wiggins, and Kyrie Irving, have gone on record against the vaccine. In the case of Andrew Wiggins, it seems that he's been railroaded and forced into getting the vaccine. Local ordinances state that Andrew Wiggins must be vaccinated to play in home games. Although Andrew Wiggins had applied for a religious exemption, he wasn't granted such, and in addition was forced to get the vaccine. In the case of Issacs, he stated that he personally has already had COVID, and he feels based on his demographic, the level of health, his age, that he doesn't need to take an additional risk to protect himself from COVID when he's already received the antibodies because he's already had COVID. In the case of Bradley Beal, he just stated that, hey, I feel this doesn't make sense. I have my own thoughts, and I'm choosing not to get the vaccine. In the case of LeBron has come out and said that he got the vaccine, but he says that it's not his place to tell somebody else to get the vaccine. I think that's reasonable, and I'm fully on board with that with LeBron. I think that if he chose to get the vaccine, that's his personal choice. If he feels and he thinks that that's going to be the best for him and his family and friends, I respect his decision to do so. However, I don't respect Enes Kanter, who's come out and stated that he's disappointed in LeBron for not pushing the vaccine narrative. I think that's absolute BS. I think that there's a major hypocrisy in our liberal side. I mean, the same liberal side who screams, "My body, my choice," when it comes to abortion rights, now it doesn't want to follow the same line of reasoning. I've seen many people compare the vaccine mandate to areas such as the requirement to wear a seatbelt when you're driving, but they're so unlike. You know, a major part of the law is balancing different interests and different risks. So, sorry, when I say risk, I mean risks and benefits, and then at the same time balancing a number of interests. So when you get into a car, to put a seatbelt on takes you roughly 1 second. There's no lasting consequences on you. If you're caught driving without your seatbelt, you probably face, $100 fine, which is not super consequential. So when you balance the interest is this: if you get into a car with your seatbelt on, you have a much lower chance of having significant injuries. But in order to do such, you will take a very minimal effort to put your seatbelt on. And if you get caught without your seatbelt on by the police officer, you're going to pay around $100 fine. I think that's a reasonable and that's a rational place to be, because it balances different interests. Now, if you were given $2,000 fines, $5,000 fines, that's not reasonable. That's not rational. But $100 fine, $150 fine, $80 fine, whatever the range is, that's reasonable and that's rational. Now, to say, under the same line of reasoning, we could say, hey, you know what? People have made the argument that COVID is a health issue that affects everybody. And they keep citing that, hey, listen, if COVID is cases are significantly up and people are in the hospital, that's going to have a complete effect on our tax dollars, our medical system. People aren't going to be able to get their surgeries that they had scheduled, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And there's merit there. There's definitely merit there. However, under that same line of reasoning, and this is what the law is designed to do, it's designed to protect what I call the slippery slope, whereas you can take a certain line of reasoning and you can transfer that to multiple different areas, and it just becomes ridiculous. So under that same line of reasoning, then why don't we ban alcohol? Why don't we ban fast food? I mean, there's millions of cases of heart disease, diabetes, why don't we ban cigarettes altogether? I mean, what benefit is there from cigarettes for anybody? I mean, other than money, a financial incentive, that's about it. I mean, should we mandate that? I mean, no, we don't, because we allow somebody the choice to say, hey, you want to go smoke a cigarette? Go ahead. You want to go to McDonald's and stuff your face? Go ahead. We don't mandate them to stay home and eat veggies and exercise all day and practice mindfulness and stress management, etc. We give them the choice, say, hey, you have the choice. If you want to live a healthy lifestyle, you can do so. If not, you can choose to live an unhealthy lifestyle or a moderately healthy lifestyle. But in no way, no form shall someone who's healthy come up to a overweight person who overeats fast food and smokes cigarettes and say, hey, you're messing up my tax dollars in the health system, so you know what, screw you, I'm gonna mandate you only eat vegetables. No, it's ridiculous. And even the government to do such thing is ridiculous. So it's really falls in the line of reason. I think we got to think a little more critically here. We have to respect other people's beliefs. I mean, it's been proven that the vaccine does not protect you against the transmission of COVID. If you're vaccinated, it's been demonstrated even by the liberal media and the COVID and the COVID positive people and the vaccine pro people that you still can catch it. There's no protection there. However, their one argument remains that, hey, if you catch COVID, you're gonna have less severe symptoms. I think that's fine and dandy. That's a great, that's great if it can do that. However, you have to also discuss the additional risk of getting the vaccine. We all know this vaccine is a pretty short-lived vaccine. Around a year turnaround time. Most vaccines are about 4 to 5 years to make and to actually pass all the stages necessary to be released to the general public. And this is foregone a numerous steps. So there is risk and there are side effects. In addition to that, we don't know what the future long-term risks or side effects are going to be either. So being reasonable, I say I have to understand your certain concerns. You're from this side. You're a guy who says, hey, I don't want to get the vaccine. You know what? I can respect that choice. Now you're on the other side and you say, hey, I want to get the vaccine. Let me be reasonable and respect it. Think rationally. Think red-pilled. And that's one of the biggest things that we're failing to do. Many of us in the society are failing to do. Being red-pilled is somewhat being unplugging yourself from many of these misnomers, mistruths, omissions of society. The government isn't all good. Not everything the government does is bad, for sure, but it's not all good. And it's reasonable, and actually it should be expected that we should approach the government with some level of skepticism. We shouldn't just take everything they say just straight into being fact or truth. Instead, we should provide some type of level of skepticism. So I think we should respect people who have chosen not to get the vaccine right now. I mean, as time goes on, we learn more about it. Maybe some people will turn and say, hey, I want to get the vaccine. I've learned more about it. I've done more research. More time has passed for us to discover more of the potential side effects of potential effects on other people, different age ranges, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd like to go back and finish finally with the Kyrie situation. And kind of, this is my segue into the Kyrie situation. If we're being reasonable, fellas and ladies, we should respect Kyrie's decision to not get the vaccine. I get it. Like I said, you could think he should get the vaccine. That's fine. But to believe that it should be mandated is just not reasonable or rational. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of the day, great rest of the night. Please like and subscribe on your way out and on your way in. It's been William. I'll see you guys soon.